Mining Paladin involved in beating Evil wasn't a bot? Was that the Shaman by any chance called Die Insect? What? Are you kidding me?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and we are literally in the most toxic Hearthstone meta of all time. It's not clickbait, because literally the top like 2 decks, they're based around toxic things. Barrels of Sludge, they're toxic waste, and Plagues, that's just toxic. But we're gonna go over Warlock's dominance of the entire standard format right now. How, you know, we kind of saw this coming with the latest balance patch when it didn't get hit. Go over like how the meta is developing, what counters there's been, and what needs to happen in a future balance patch that we're supposed to get before standard rotation. If you enjoy the content on the channel, you think I've earned your subscription, please hit that sub button down below. Give the video a like as we are on the road to 80,000 subscribers. So I tweeted this out, I think this is like a day or like a day after the patch went live, and I just went onto the Hearthstone subreddit today and saw, thanks for this diverse meta, and it's like all warrior, all death knight, and then there's also new season is fun. They're right beside each other, and this one is all warlock and warrior. It's like there's no diversity. And well, we take a look at HS replay, we kind of see why. Across all ranks, again, we're like, I think it was just as bad before the patch where we only had like 2 or 3 classes with a positive win rate. And yeah, we're at 3 classes with the positive win rate, with Warlock being the top dog now instead of Paladin or Druid or whatever. Death Knight's up there, and that's it. Like Mage is like by far the worst. We're gonna talk about Demon Hunter at the end of the video again, because it's still bringing up controversy, that pesky sharpshooter. But yeah, you can see a lot of classes, at least across all ranks, not doing great. Warriors up there, but you take a look at the ranked metas, it's actually quite jarring. Diamond through Legend, you do have the Sludge Warlock all the way up at top, like 57% win rate. Rainbow Deathlight has emerged as a deck. We'll talk about that a little bit. Plague Deathlight, the other toxic deck up there. Paladin tier 1. And there are, like, it kind of looks like they're diversity, but all you really got to do is sort Legend top 1,000 where the best players are playing the best decks. The best, whatever, best. I'm saying best a lot. It's like actually just jarring, because you look at it, there are currently 4 decks at high legend with a positive win rate. A positive win rate, at least played by the sample size of HS replay. We'll talk about how aggro DH probably should be a little bit higher. But yeah, the reason you're seeing just like Warlock, Warrior, Death Knight, or Paladin sometimes is that's all that's really going on at high legend. Sludge Warlock is like the best deck at basically every legend or every rank bracket. I think only bronze through gold does Paladin surpass it, because it's just, I guess, Sludge Warlock takes a little bit of nuance to play. But yeah, at the highest of high ranks, it is just bonkers. And I think it's only going to get worse as the deck just doesn't really have really bad matchups. Control Warrior and Plague Deathlight are up here because they are 2 of the better matchups into that deck. If we take a look at Sludge Warlock though, at its stats, this is sorting through Diamond through Legend. What its bad matchups are, you're going to see a lot of green. But basically, yeah, Rainbow Deathlight has popped up as a deck that is doing relatively well against it. I believe, like, I think Clark got to rank 10 legend with it. I've seen other posts of quite high legend with it. Rainbow Deathlight might not be bait. We did recommend it in our best deck videos, best deck video a couple of days ago. So if you want to check that out, it's definitely worth trying out. But other than that, we got Dragon Druid, which we also recommended. It's not like it's a huge favorite or a mismatch, right? Like 46%, 47%. The Aggro Paladin, Mining Paladin, again, not favored, but barely loses to it, right? Like 47. And I've been playing some Mine Warlock. I've been Sludge. I mean, I revealed these cards. I got to play the deck while it's good. And yeah, I beat every Paladin I faced so far. And you just see a lot of green, even like Control Warrior, 50%. Like it still beats Control Warrior like a lot. I guess at higher legend it's a little bit worse. I don't know if we could sort by top 1,000 legend. The sample size is so bad, it's like 44% there. Everything else is positive. But like, yeah, you just see the deck just crushes absolutely crushes everything and then slightly loses to a couple of decks. So it is in that point where the deck is just way too good. I don't think the deck is particularly super unhealthy. I don't dislike the deck too much. It's just too good. It's a little bit overtuned. It didn't get hit in the latest balance patch when the top 4 decks were clearly, at the time, we had Paladin, we had Druid, we had Sludge Warlock, and we had Naga Aggro Demon Hunter. Those were the top 4 decks, at least at higher ranks, and 2 of those got hit, right? Naga DH still hasn't thrived post-patch because this deck is just that much better, but a lot of higher legend players argue that it's still the best deck, the Demon Hunter deck. Again, we'll get into that in a second, but if you look at the stats, again, we're ticking, I think this is Diamond through Legend Mulligan win rate. It's only like actual data size I have. The cards that are overperforming so far are kind of like one of the buffed cards, Sludge on Wheels. This used to be a 1/5, remember? Also, the Barrels of Sludge used to only deal 3. So that's a lot more damage output. That's part of the problem. Forge of Wills, which has just always been a pretty busted card. I'd hate to see it get nerfed because of an aggro deck, but that could happen. And then, of course, Waste Remover. It's a 4-mana 7/7 with upside a lot of the time, which is just insane, right? Like, there's not... It can, like, I think I put out a meme, a tweet of, like, how it started with the Shaman Overload 4-mana 7/7. Now we're at the point where you could play a 7/7 that does 12 damage on top of it, or if it hits like a Furnace Fuel, could draw you some cards. So these cards are like overperforming. They work incredibly well. If like you, it's like it just shows you the curve. Like if you hit the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, pretty much no deck can beat you. It's almost impossible. It's just a lot of stats. It's a lot of damage. It's really difficult to deal with. And then on top of that, with the late game, Popgar got that buff, right? That fell spells cost 2 less. So the Barrels of Sludge would be 1, but that's made Crescendo free with it now, which is, it gives the deck a lot of healing for free with Popgar, which is relevant. But the mini set added some pretty good cards. In particular, if you saw in the intro there, Chaos Creation, which can just be a finisher that no control deck could ever deal with, where if you have 6 Barrels of Sludge, sorry, I have to say it that way, in the bottom of your deck, not only are you dealing 6, you're summoning a random Sith or whatever, and then you're dealing like 6 times 4 sometimes. It's just too much damage. Like no deck can ever deal with that. And yeah, they got Gem Tosser, which some lists run, some don't, and Gloomstone Guardian, which some lists run, some don't. You can see there at the bottom here, they're the least, one of the lesser impactful cards in the deck. But overall, it's just overperforming. And do I want to see the deck die? No, I think it should be competitive. I don't think you go full revert of the Barrels of Sludge down to 3. I just feel like you tone something down. Whether it's Sludge on Wheels going back to a 1/5, whether, I guess, Forge of Wills going to 4 mana, maybe Waste Remover loses some stats, just something. I don't think it needs a massive nerf. I think maybe 1 or 2 cards need a bit of tweaking, some of these higher win rate cards. But when you have a meta that is that defined by like one deck, it's pretty darn frustrating. So there's a lot of complaints about it. But like, what are the counters like that you could try and play against right now? If until the next balance patch or whatever, again, I would recommend Rainbow Death Knight. I would recommend Plague Death Knight, and I probably would recommend like Binding Paladin and Control Warrior. That's really what the stats show as what you could try to do to counter it, which is pretty darn rough. And if you look at like Donkey.top at Legend rank, that's what you see here. You see a lot of Sludge Warlock, you see a lot of Plague Death Knight, you got Control Warrior, Plague Death, like it's literally all you see. And the counter of Dragon Druid apparently works, but at Legend, you only see the Sludge Warlock and what counters it, nothing else. So that's not a ton of fun for higher rank players, and it does trickle down to those lower ranks. And I noted a Grandmaster came back, Eddie, he's always been very good at the game, said he saw Donkey's list, rank 1 post, came back to the game, immediately got rank 1 Legend, like immediately, within like a week or 2. And he just said, what has happened to Hearthstone this last couple of years, I've never seen anything this strong. He went like 18-1 in these 19 games with the deck. And I think his comment here, he thinks the deck is way too OP and the only bad matchup is probably Rogue, which doesn't pop up as a bad matchup on the whole like deck, on like HS replay and all that. So pretty crazy to see what's been developing, and I would just like to hear what you guys say about it. The other contentious thing was the other good deck that didn't get nerfed, that again, a lot of us were hoping for. When I did like my nerf predictions, I'm like, all 4 decks need to get hit. And Sludge Warlock didn't get hit, and neither did Naga Demon Hunter. And Meaty, a top player, he was at Worlds and all of that, very vocal, like I could be, said, upside of current meta, there is surely no way this card is dodging a delete next patch, right? No way, right? Yeah, I don't know. I quote retweeted this because the way I feel about the card is it's not super high play rate at like across all ranks. When you do face it, it's a horrible experience because a 3-drop can draw through its entire deck and kill you. It just does too much for a 3-drop. It's absurd. Remember, Gadget's an Auctioneer at 6 mana that just drew cards was too problematic that it got sent to Wild this year and got nerfed at the same time to 7, and they still felt like they couldn't keep it in Standard. This is an Auctioneer for half that cost that tutor specific cards that deals damage, and you could discount its tribal. It's not a legendary. It is just, to me, just such a frustrating card, and I will keep on it that I think it should not be a meta playable card, because when you face it, it's a terrible experience. It's not Hearthstone to me. It's just United and Stormwind. What I would like to see it is get nerfed, deleted, whatever. I said delete because he said delete, right? But I would love to see them actually just go ham and buff a lot of like the more late game Demon Hunter cards. Highlander Demon Hunter has not worked at all, right? Like that's what I would like to see. I'm not saying make Demon Hunter unplayable, because yeah, at H's replay, at least the front page stats, you see it there, it's really bad. And that's not cool because Naga DH is a competitive good deck, and yet it drags everything down because people don't want to play it. It's not the playstyle I feel like, and I hear from most Hearthstone players don't love playing, and I would just love to see them, okay, we're gonna take away this like really toxic card and make it so that we can play our Naga, maybe not Naga, sorry, I got Naga in mind, our Highlander cards, or play more big Demon Hunter, or just bring relics back into it, even though I don't love that because it's like massive energy, but just anything that's not just about, again, what I said, Mulligan simulator single player decks where, oh, they drew the sharpshooter, I probably died. If they didn't, I guess I won. It's not really a fun game either way. I never have fun facing this deck, win or lose, and I still feel like it creates so much complaints because of that reason. It's such an unfun play experience of a card that, yeah, notching it down by 2 health didn't really do a lot. It's a world championship card, right? It won Worlds. It's a top tier deck, and Meaty firmly believes it's the single best and most meta warping card in the game right now. So I don't know, love to hear you guys' take on it. I know it's more of a niche complaint, it's more of a legend player complaint for a lot of the people, but I never hear positives about this card other than a couple of the usual suspects that don't want any. They love Stormwind. They didn't want any of that stuff nerfed either. So I don't know, man. I just can't stand it. I want to see Soul Fragment style decks, Fell Demon Hunter style decks, Death Rattle Demon Hunter stuff, not this, you know, solitaire stuff. Anyways, let me know what you guys are thinking about the meta. We are expecting a balance patch. They did say there is likely going to be one probably the week after next. So I guess bear with this meta until then. But let me know what you guys think, and hopefully, yeah, things get tweaked a little bit, toned down a little bit, because there is a lot of stuff ready to emerge as playable. It's just those darn sludges messing a lot of this stuff up. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends.